How's it going, everyone? Today we're working on a 2004 Subaru Outback. This is the wagon H6 model. Picked this thing up pretty cheap. Doesn't look too bad overall. I just bought it sight unseen. However, the subframe back here has some serious rust issues. That's actually just completely separated right there, so that's really not safe to drive anymore. Over on this side, starting to break through there as well. All over really, subframe is pretty crusty. Back part here isn't too bad, but I mean, yeah, it's not far behind, so I think we're gonna try to fix this. A lot of people would scrap this vehicle, but overall it's really not too bad. The frame rails are all intact still. The engine and transmission are in great shape. Has about 200,000 miles on it. Runs and drives really good. You know, cruise control at 75. I definitely won't be doing that until I fix this. I got it in the shop right now. I'm gonna start tearing into it, and basically the plan is to remove as little as we need to get the subframe out, get the subframe back in, and then I got some new control arms to put in as well. A lot of the bushings are bad. And we got some new sway bar bushings and end links as well too. Just figured to do pretty much all of it while we're in here. That way I don't have to come back again later. So let's get into this. Alright, so I didn't really film very much. This has been quite the process. So far, every single nut and bolt combo, I've had to use the blowtorch. So basically every single thing I've touched. I ended up not really needing to drill that hole. This one came out. Just have two more, the two rear to remove. The driver's side front, that one came out. The other side broke off, and that's going to be an annoying one to fix. But yeah, everything else is disconnected. I got the differential just dropped down. Had to separate the exhaust. The control arms are still on the inside, but the outer side is all disconnected, so I'm hoping I have enough room to pull that all out without removing anything else, because these are kind of hard to get to up in there. As you can see, I mean, that's supposed to be a solid rubber bushing, so this thing was well overdue. I got some new trailing arm bushings as well. She's pretty rusty. Anyway, let's go ahead and pull these last two bolts in the rear. One there, one on the other side, and then this subframe should drop right out, and we can inspect the damage to it. we got the subframe out. So these are the two Subaru subframes, just side by side here. As you can see, yeah, this is completely gone. The rest of it's not far behind, so along with all the bushings, which are super worn out. So now I got this piece of cardboard. Because this mount ripped off the body of the Subaru, I'm gonna have to kind of transfer something over to cardboard so I can cut it out in metal, and then I'm gonna be welding that up above the subframe there so it has something to bolt to. We're back out here on the Subaru today. Just wanted to show you what I was talking about, where the mount actually ripped out of the car. On this side here, yeah, I was just undoing the bolt. It was going, it went about halfway and then seized up, and before I even realized it, the entire nut and chunk of metal around it that hold the subframe bolt in just completely ripped out. The other day I made this part just from using cardboard and transferring it over, making sure all my angles are right. So this is going to be kind of like my repair piece for the part of the chassis up there that ripped out. So as you can see, that's a pretty good fit. I tried to use this mounting hole here. This is just a bolt for a little shield. So I actually ended up using that to transfer it over to the metal there, so that way I know I'm getting right back in the right spot. That enabled me to pull this part out without welding it so close to the gas tank. I just tacked it in place. So I think our next step, we got to add a couple supports running up the side here next to the strut, potentially one right here as well, just to tie that plate into the chassis a little bit better. The metal all around here is pretty weak still, so I want to tie it in to the outer side where it seems to be a little bit better. We got to get this bent down, probably just right along that existing bend there, maybe one bend here, just to get it to tuck right in there. And then we're going to weld a piece on here, on the other side as well. And then we'll have to also mark and drill our hole. So that'll actually probably be next. Alright, here's where we are today. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I drilled the hole in the wrong place. So it was just stupid of me. I'm gonna buzz off the nut up there, re-drill a hole, and let's get a nut welded in the right place. To make sure I get it centered right, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the tip of that bolt. I'm going to just tap it right up on that, so hopefully I get a little groove on the steel, as well as a ring of grease. And then I'm going to pull it out and center punch it so I know that I'm right where I need to be. So yeah, I'm going to do that and then go on to the next thing. So I keep having issues. I can't get this nut welded on straight. My issue is, you know, just there's an ever so slight bend here, to where when I weld the nut solid, put it in, it's stripping out the nut and it's ruining the bolt. So I'm not really sure if this is gonna work, but this was my idea. I bought a 3/4 inch wrench here, and my plan is something like this. Kind of hard to see here, but you can see that will allow a little bit of motion in the bolt while still holding it. So we're getting there. That fucking nut wouldn't go on, so I just cut a little window so I could grab it with vice grips.
Now I gotta rough that up and weld that edge, weld across there, and then we're gonna plate this all in super thick. Been working at this a bit. Sorry I didn't film much. Got pretty frustrated. Just decided to start slamming it together here. So we got the both rear bolts in. This front bolt here is also in. These are just torqued down with the impact for now. I'm gonna do the final torque later. And that's the good side. Coming over here, got the welder out. This back one is in. It's the new subframe, and what we're doing is we're welding this plate right here to the chassis. I'm gonna fully weld this and leave a gap here in case I need to put a wrench in there. It's not really the way I wanted to do it, but it's the way it worked out, so it is what it is. But I'll probably add in a couple plates here just to strengthen it, and then probably run a weld here along the edge and probably a little bit there. Don't want to get too close to the gas tank, so we're going to be careful about that. Just try to stay on this side of it. I did drop the strut to get access to it. I'm really happy that I did. It was just totally blocking everything, so that made it a lot easier, and finally feel like I'm making a little bit of progress on this. Alright, and we're gonna stop right here for the night. Cut out this piece here. This is all out of 1/8 inch. Plated in the side here where there's a bit of structure missing. Tied it in along the side there, and then I kind of hit some rust, so yeah, the welds are kind of shit. These ones are alright, but it'll be plenty strong for what we need it for. I got this plate welded in as well as I could. It's kind of rusty over here, which made it hard. Got some good welds over here. I'm gonna add one more plate that kind of covers like this. Just ties into the base there, just for extra strength. Tonight I'm just gonna switch gears, just feel like doing something different, so I'm gonna replace these struts back here. So I already got it out of the top here just to get more access, but all I'm gonna have to do is just pull this nut down here, and then I'm gonna use the spring compressor to take the pressure off, pop off the top hat, and then swap it over. So this is just how everything is going on this car, which kind of sucks, but anyway, here's my old strut in the rear. I was thinking it would just be a relaxing, easy night, you know, just swap this over to the new strut. Well, took the old one apart. This just fell off, which I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's actually the top piece of the coil spring. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to order a coil spring. Had I known this, I would have bought the quick struts and it would have saved me a lot of time and effort, but I didn't know until I got into it. So I'm gonna check the other side, see if anything's broken over here. Well, this one looks to be okay, but that top part there looks like it could break, so I'll probably just order two, take care of that, and in the meantime I'll work on something else. Alright, we're back out here again today, working on the Subaru. Current plan right now, just to reinforce this bottom piece here. This isn't the best weld here, so I got this cardboard piece, and my plan is I'm gonna cut it out something like this. That's gonna tie in down here, and I'm gonna weld up here as well. Put in a good chunk of time tonight on the Subaru. I added in this plate here, tied it in there. Still have my window, which is good. I also welded right here along the bottom side, and then I sprayed everything down after cleaning it up with some cold galvanizing paint. That stuff works pretty well at stopping rust, and that's what I have, so should do the job. I'm gonna let this dry. I'm missing a couple bolts for up here, so I gotta go run to the store and see if they have those. That's for this top link that comes down to here. And got these off Rock Auto. I think they were like 55 bucks, really not too bad. I did notice one thing, the way this one broke here, right at the top. And if we notice here, the white paint denotes the top. And as you can see, right there, there's kind of like a bend mark. Maybe where they grabbed the spring to tension it, or maybe where the wire was holding it when they painted it. And what I'm going to do, if you can see, this old one here, it happened to break exactly at that point. So I think what I'm going to do is just hit that with a little bit of paint. Hopefully that preserves it from rust like this one. Alright, let's get this thing together. Got everything swapped over onto the new strut. The top hats here were in good shape, so I just reused them. Got a new strut, new spring. Now we're gonna put it back in. A little bit of progress here. We got the new strut with the spring swapped over here. We got everything bolted up and torqued. Next, I'm going to be threading in these bolts here into the differential. I could reuse these, but I might not get the best torque with tightening these down, just due to how they rusted on there. Got these from Subaru. These are the genuine bolts. They were only like $2 or $3 a piece, so this was like probably $6, $7. As you can see, it's got two different thread patterns here. It's got a coarse and a fine thread. The coarse side is what goes into your differential. The fine thread is your nut end. This is the rear diff bushing. I have the new studs and bolts in there. Just taking a sec here, I'm throwing in these poly bushing inserts. They look like this, but I have to cut them down a little bit to get it to fit. Shave a little off this corner, that side, and then on the inside of these two pieces here. I think these are for like a WRX or something, so it's not really an exact fit. They didn't actually have one for this car, but this will work. I know it doesn't quite fit there, but that's definitely better than stock, and it'll keep that locked in place. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the other side, and then we'll look at the front diff mount, which is currently there. I got it in front of the heater. It's drying. Just while I had it out, I hit it with the wire wheel, got it cleaned up, and then hit it with some zinc cold galvanizing paint. Have a bit of an update here. Got the differential front mount in. We got the rear mount in as well, both sides. Alright, we're back out here working on the Subi. Now we're getting into putting in some control arms. So what I'm doing is just putting everything in loose, making sure I can get to everything. With the trailing arms, I ended up taking the bracket off, and had some trouble getting the bolt out of the bushing there, so I ended up just putting them back in. They really weren't that bad. I'm gonna do it at a later date, or maybe not at all. but they still were pretty tight, so I'm gonna run them as is. It's just too much work. I didn't feel like disconnecting the brake line and pulling the axle out, taking off the strut, removing everything, and that's the way to do it. You're gonna have to pull the whole trailing arm out. So I just got the rear control arm on there, just leaving the bolts loose, and I also got the lower front control arm in. And this one is cool because instead of just being one piece, this one allows you to dial in the camber. Otherwise, you're kind of just dictated by wherever it's at, based on how worn out your springs are. The nice part is about this, you have these two lock nuts here, and then these are reverse threaded, or one's reverse threaded, one's regular. So when you tighten this centerpiece, it either pulls them both together or pushes them both apart. So that's cool. I'm gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on that bolt there and the top bolt there, and I'm gonna get that kind of loosely snugged down, and then we'll go over to the other side. All right, here's an update on the Subaru. I got new calipers, new brake pads, new rotors on both sides. Currently working on the passenger side. Just figured I'd show this. This is just what I did. This is pretty tricky to get this control arm in. As you can see, there's a bit of an angle there on the bracket. So what I did is I got the inner one in. It's just finger tight right now. And in order to get this outer side in, what I did is I jacked up here off the sway bar mount, and that raised this up, which helped make the angle a little bit closer. And then I was able to just, you know, tap on the top there with a hammer, get it lined up into place. But without jacking it up, that's pretty tough. I did not jack up the other side, and it took me a lot longer to do it. So just figured I'd show that because that is probably one of the trickier parts of getting the control arms on. The other ones pretty much just go right together. I just torqued all of the bolts. I'm gonna torque up the other side, and then we're getting close. We're almost done with this. Got my little helper out here. Hey, Roscoe. Good kitty. He just hangs out. He don't care if it's an angle grinder, a welder, or just turning some wrenches. He's just hanging out. Good boy. Good boy, Roscoe. Got the Subaru all back together. Turned out pretty good. There were new brakes on there. Got it back from the alignment shop. They were able to use the adjustable camber arms there to dial everything in. Drives pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I just have a little squeaking from my driver's side rear wheel bearing. Must have been from whacking it with a sledgehammer to get the rotor freed up when I was changing out the brakes. But other than that, I'm going to end this video here on changing out the subframe in the Subaru. Got a little further into it than I wanted to with rebuilding the body mount there, but overall we kept the car on the road, and we still don't really have that much into it. So this is going to be a great daily commuter for me to and from work. Put over 100 miles a day going to and from work, so should be up for the job now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned.